Ahlan wa sahlan, Malishman, good proverbial day. Ben here with Bubbly Brewery, bringing you guys our first review. Alright, so, for the first review we have the Lotus Kaloud. Peachy, I know. As, it kind of, it's Kaloud, or maybe pronounced Cloud, because they're trying to be clever, very cool. It is made in America, so I'm guessing they're going for the Cloud kind of thing. Very attractive box. That's what this guy came in. Very attractive box. And my favorite part of it, let me start off with the best part, is the back. It says, designed with love, in the heart of a baby unicorn, manufactured in the USA. And I'm not even making that up. That's literally what it says right here. So you can tell that whoever made this definitely has a cool sense of humor. I can really appreciate that. Unicorns are freaking awesome. Hell yeah. Unicorn power, man. So there's the big positives. Alright, so let's get into this guy. First things first. It comes in a very nice, attractive package. You have your little slip indicator here that kind of tells you the basics about it. You can see that it's got a foam insert cutout, which is really nice. So it nestles in there. It's all very attractive. Beautiful packaging. Got a nice magnet snap. I'm pretty sure you can hear that one more time. Yeah, the sawing, not the snap. That's the snap that we're looking for. So you can hear that there's magnets in there. That's all pretty cool. Great. Now, the concept is that what they did is they took a drop forge or cast forge aluminum, and then the idea is that you put your coals here in the top, and it says that you don't have to change your coals. You only need 3 coals for a whole session, for the whole bowl, all that great stuff. Alright, so first things first. If you can see this, little bit flimsy. I'm not a big fan of that. And the reason it's flimsy like that is because, sorry guys, it's a little bit hot. So the reason it's flimsy like that is because the rubber insert here actually comes off. So you can see kind of the little stick is a little bit shorter than this, so it leads to it being a little bit flimsy, and it does have a little bit of heat in there, so remember that, guys, when you do your adjustments. Alright, now the way it works is there are a bunch of slits in this, and the thing that's kind of unique about this guy is that when you take it off, you can see there's no, you probably can peek there if you can, there's no foil there, so this is directly on the bowl itself. If you were to put coals on the bowl without any foil, that'd be called zakhlul, which is something that's very popular in Egypt and not very popular anywhere else. It's a very unique taste, and I will go into a video about zakhlul on my own at some point. But, so yeah, the idea is you put this here, you don't need foil, it's going to cook perfectly for you, all that stuff. Great, it sounds lovely. Alright, problems. The problems are, as I said, this gets really hot, and it's designed so that you can have these 3 holes, and when you turn this, it covers that. That idea is so that you can retain heat and bounce heat back in the bowl. Think about the bowl as a brick oven, or a pizza oven, if you will. So instead of, this is a common misconception. People often think you're trying to light your tobacco on fire. Whoa, not at all. The ideal situation is a vaporization process. So the ignition source should not be in contact with the tobacco itself, which is why oftentimes, people who pack bowls, they have the shisha down a little bit and then the foil over the top, and there's like a little bit of air between. That's because that superheated air leads to a vaporization process, and that's what's important. So that's kind of the idea that this is playing off of. I have a few frustrations. It smokes well for a little while. If you put 2 coals on there though, or 2 coals into the little cage here, this little trap, it'll smoke okay, but you're not going to get big clouds or a whole lot of flavor. If you put 3 coals in there, it'll smoke good for a little while, but then it does have a tendency to get a little bit harsh, and so you end up having to open this guy up a little bit. That would be great if this, heat purge valve, if you will, if this heat let-off system actually worked really, really well, that'd be fine. But unfortunately, it doesn't exactly. So you do have, on occasion, a little bit of a coaly taste, which again comes down to proper coal maintenance and things like that. So it's not a big deal, but for something that's advertising that you don't ever have to touch the coals or change them out or do any maintenance on them, it is kind of a big deal because that's the whole point, right? So mixed bag there. I do think it's a cool concept. I think it's a great idea. I just think it's not quite developed yet. My big thing is if this locked in, if the top here locked in somehow, so you'd rotate a little bit and it would lock, and then you could pick the whole thing up by that, I think that would be a lot better. That comes from a few different perspectives though. I am not just a casual smoker who smokes at home. I also think about smoking from a business point of view. And I can't tell you how many times I heard, "Ah!" as, a bowl has flipped over, there are coals on the ground, right? That's not the best problem it's not the best problem to have. But when you have something like this, if this were to fall over, this would fall off, your coals would fall out, the metal here would fall off, and your tobacco would be possibly on the ground. So there's a lot of a lot of parts that would be on the ground, and that's going to make it harder to clean up. So if you just had foil there, the shisha would be contained inside if there was a spill, and the coals would be on the ground. You have to pick up those coals very quickly, obviously, not to burn the floor. But with this, you have to pick up a lot of components not to pick up to burn the floor. So that is one of my frustrations, and one of the things that I would recommend in the future is that this kind of lock into place so that isn't an issue. That said, the idea is, when you get this and you take the top off, you put your 3 coals in, you let it sit for like 2 to 3 minutes, it kind of starts that baking process. Again, remember, pizza oven, that's why your bowls are usually made of clay or some type of, material that retains heat very well, because you're trying to bake it like an oven. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's, on its way there, but in terms of being the perfect thing, not quite. It's good for a personal smoking device, I would say. Good, not great. So I'd say, I'd give it like a B. Or maybe a C+, depending on the scale that you were graded on. So that's kind of the way I would go with it, probably. But I do like the idea and I like the concept, and I would like to see it be developed. So, yeah, that's the Kaloud, the Lotus Kaloud review. So again, we're gonna give it a C+ here at HBB. Check it out, get one for yourself. If you have any feelings or comments on it, feel free. Other thing I will say is I do recommend using a type of coal. Cocos are great coals. I like to use orange wood or lemon wood coals typically. I do use cocos for this specifically. And the reason why is because the briquette is a nice size. So you can see that they're, probably a 1/2 inch by 1 inch or so. Maybe, yeah. And sometimes when you find coals like this, composite coals where they're, put under a lot of pressure, this is a coconut husk that's put under a lot of pressure to make a coal for you. Sometimes when you find these, they're a lot taller. So they, in fact, look something like this. All right, those big bricks, they are too big for in here, I find. I do not like the way they burn, and that problem I was talking about, how it might get harsh. If you have a big coal like this and you have 3 of them in there, it will get harsh. So keep that in mind, guys. The coal that I would recommend that you use with the Kaloud, the Lotus Kaloud or Lotus Kaloud, however you want to pronounce it, is in fact a coconara or a coconara-like coal, because you want something that's kind of small. So yeah. Enjoy, guys. I hope that somebody found this review useful. And ciao for now. This is Ben for Bubbly Brewery.